The book, God's Been Writing Why Your Pain Doesn't Disqualify Your Joy. There's this thing we don't talk about enough, the way you can be sitting in a room full of people, smiling, nodding, looking like you've got it all together. And inside, you're holding a scream that's been building since you were 7 years old. Nobody prepared us for that, did they? Nobody said, hey, by the way, joy and pain aren't mutually exclusive. They're not even opposites. They're more like dance partners, awkward ones, the kind that step on each other's toes, but somehow still make it through the whole song. I recently had the profound honor of sitting down with Joycelyn Hills for the Soft Girl Era podcast. And let me tell you something about Joycelyn. This woman is a force. She spent her life empowering Black professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs to reclaim their voices, their stories, their softness. She's the kind of person who walks into a room and the air shifts, not because she demands it, but because she's done the work. The deep, uncomfortable, soul scraping work of turning pain into purpose. And her message, the one she calls Blessed Amongst the Living, hit me like a freight train wrapped in velvet. Here's what she said: You can endure pain since childhood and still be full of joy. You can be smiling and crying at the exact same time. Your life is a book held in God's hands. And after years, maybe decades of silence, you finally have a voice. That's what we're unpacking today. Not the Instagram version of resilience, not the motivational poster nonsense that tells you to just keep pushing through. The real thing, the messy, complicated, beautiful truth that being blessed doesn't mean being pain free. It means being alive, awake, and unashamed of your story. So let's get clear about what Joycelyn wants you to walk away with. Three things. Write them down, tattoo them somewhere. I don't care. Just don't let them slip through your fingers. First, embrace joy amid lifelong pain as God's blessing, not despite the pain, not after the pain, right in the middle of it. Joy isn't a reward for surviving, it's the fuel that keeps you going when survival feels impossible. Second, your life story is a divine book worth sharing. Every chapter, even the ones you wish you could burn, especially those. Third, claim your voice unapologetically, no matter what circles you're talking in: boardrooms, church pews, family dinners, therapy sessions. Your voice matters. Full stop. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking, that sounds lovely, but how? How do you actually live that out when the pain feels louder than the joy? When your story feels too heavy to share? When your voice feels like it's been buried under years of other people's expectations? Let me show you how this works in real life with real women who've lived this truth and come out the other side, holding both their pain and their joy like they're made of gold. Let's talk about Jocelyn King. Not the same Joycelyn I interviewed, but another powerhouse who embodies this message in a way that'll make you rethink everything. Jocelyn King is known as the Queen of Online Safety. She's the founder and CEO of Smarter Online Safety, named a top 10 woman in cybersecurity. Impressive, right? But here's what the accolades don't tell you: Jocelyn became a victim of cybercrime that mirrored deep personal pain, the kind of pain that makes you want to disappear, the kind that silences you because speaking up feels more dangerous than staying quiet. And for a while, she did stay quiet. She survived. She kept moving, but she wasn't living. Then something shifted. Jocelyn decided that her pain didn't have to be the end of her story, it could be the beginning of someone else's breakthrough. So she transformed that trauma into something called the Clear Coaching Framework, coaching led empowerment for everyday resilience. She started offering one on one sessions, master classes. She's got a book coming that's going to help people get unstuck in ways they didn't even know they were stuck. And here's the part that gets me: Jocelyn has helped professionals, moms, creatives, and graduates on 7 continents. 7 continents, secured their dreams, love, health, and wealth despite their hardships, from cybercrime survivor to global coach, from feeling silenced by pain to claiming her voice through faith driven work, smiling through tears as her life became a blueprint for others. Jack Canfield himself, the guy who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, called her a masterful guide by a master coach. That's what happens when you let God hold your book and you start writing anyway. That's what happens when you stop waiting for the pain to end before you let the joy begin. Then there's Iyanla Van Zandt. If you don't know her, you need to. Iconic Black life coach, New York Times best-selling author, spiritual teacher. But before all that, childhood trauma, abuse, loss, career setbacks in a male-dominated self-help space that doubted whether Black women had anything worth saying. Iyanla could have let that silence her. She could have believed the lie that her pain disqualified her from joy, from success, from speaking truth. But she didn't. She developed what she calls the acts of faith methodology. She channeled her pain into firm, faith based workshops and eventually her own TV show, Fix My Life on OWN. She's empowered millions to smile through tears, building multi-million dollar brands from personal testimony. Raised in poverty and grief, she found God's hands turning her book of pain into a voice that heals. She's authored 16 books with over 8 million copies sold. She's coached celebrities. She's shifted self help culture for Black communities. And here's the thing about Iyanla's journey: she didn't heal once and call it done. You don't heal in a straight line, you heal in layers, you heal in circles. And sometimes you're healing and thriving at the same time. Sometimes you're crying and laughing in the same breath. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. And let's talk about Priscilla Shirer, Black actress, author, Bible teacher, founder of Going Beyond Ministries, early life marked by family hardships and self doubt in ministry, battling imposter syndrome in an industry that's quick to criticize and slow to celebrate. Priscilla leaned firmly on scripture. She developed what she calls war room strategies: prayer, declaration, joyful praise amid tears. She amplified her voice globally. She starred in the box office hit War Room that grossed over $67 million. She's authored more than 20 books, including Discerning the Voice of God. Her conferences reach over 100,000 people annually. She turned personal trials into tools for spiritual and business victory, growing a thriving media empire. From feeling pain's weight young, she saw God's hand scripting her story, finding joy to speak boldly after years of silence. These three women, Joycelyn, Iyanla, Priscilla, they're not unicorns, they're not superhuman. They're women who decided that pain from childhood doesn't dim joy, it forges it in God's hands. They're women who understood that their life is a book worth reading, worth sharing, worth celebrating. And here's where I need you to get really honest with yourself. How many of you are still carrying pain like it's a badge of honor? How many of you have confused survival with strength? How many of you are so busy being the strong friend, the dependable sister, the unshakable leader that you've forgotten how to just be soft? Because here's what Joycelyn Hills reminded me during our conversation: pain doesn't erase joy when God's in control. It amplifies it, it deepens it, it makes it more precious because you know what the alternative feels like. You've been taught that strength means never breaking, that joy means never hurting, that being blessed means having an easy life. But what if being blessed amongst the living means you're still here? Still breathing, still believing, even after everything tried to take you out? What if your tears aren't a sign of weakness, but a sign that you're finally letting yourself feel? What if your laughter in the middle of chaos isn't denial, but defiance? What if your voice, the one you've been holding back for years, is exactly what someone else needs to hear to find their own? Let me tell you something else. Your story isn't just for you. It's for the woman sitting in silence right now. thinking she's the only one who's ever felt this way. It's for the entrepreneur who's built an empire but can't remember the last time she felt peace. It's for the leader who's so tired of being strong that she's forgotten what soft even feels like. Your life is a book held in God's hands. And every chapter, the painful ones, the joyful ones, the ones where you're crying and laughing at the same time, they all matter. They all count. They're all part of the story that makes you blessed amongst the living. So here's what I need you to do. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Today, stop waiting for permission to be soft. Stop apologizing for taking up space. Stop editing your story to make other people comfortable. Write one page of your book, just one page. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be profound. It just has to be true. Write about the pain you've carried since childhood. Write about the joy you found in unexpected places. Write about how you're learning to be soft in a world that taught you survival. And then share it unapologetically with a friend, a therapist, a journal, God. Share it without explanation, without apology, without waiting for permission. Because the world doesn't need another silent survivor. It needs your voice, your story, your joy mixed with your pain, your testimony that being blessed doesn't mean being perfect. It means being present, being honest, being alive. You are blessed amongst the living, not because your life has been easy, but because you're still here, still fighting, still finding joy in the cracks, still believing that God's holding your story even when you can't see the next page. And you finally have a voice. So use it boldly, softly, however it needs to come out. Just use it. Smile through your tears, laugh in your chaos, speak in your circles, write your page, claim your voice. The book God's been writing, it's yours. And it's time the world got to read it.